What's up guys, and thank you for watching this video. I hope that you are going to enjoy it. In today's video we are going to be checking those new models from AOS aka Chris Husser. Those are the Supernova 2807 1400 rated KVs. This model is primarily designed for 7-inch or 8-inch, so this is a long-range model. This is a model for long-range drone. Now, I'm not really going to spend too much time on this model because Chris has already released a video about the model to where he really go into detail about what went on designing this model. But to just give you a quick summary of his video, make sure to go check it out. Based on Chris, those motors have the right balance between power, torque, and efficiency. And since those are long-range motors, I'm really interested to see how efficient they are. What I'm going to be doing in this video, it's actually very simple. I'm going to be putting this motor on one of my 7-inch long-range drone, and I want to try to see how efficient they are. And I'm also going to try to see how good they're doing as far as torque goes. Talking about the 7-inch long range, let me show you the drone I'm going to be using those motor on. So this is the drone I'm going to be putting the Supernova 2807 on. This is my Impulse RC Apex LR7. I've built this drone. It's been, I think, a little bit over a year now, so I'm very familiar with the flight characteristic of this drone. Currently, the motor I'm using on this drone are the Emax Eco2, and those are 1500 kV motors. Overall flight time with this drone using this battery, those are the ZHD Lion batteries, 6S, 4000 milliamp rated. Average flight time with those batteries about 20 minutes. So that will be the number that the AOS Supernova 2807 gonna have to beat. Just go quickly over the rest of the drone. As I said earlier, the frame is the Impulse RC LR7. The prop I'm using right now on this guy are the Gem fan, and those are 70-40 props. I do have the Cadex Moonlight on it. The stack I'm using is a SpeedyBee V2 F7 for the flight controller. And the ESC is a SpeedyBee 55 amp 4-in-1 BLE 32 ESC. So what we're going to be doing, I'm just going to go ahead and swap the motor, and I'm going to take it out for a couple flights with the Supernova 2807, and we see how much efficient those motors are compared to the 1500 kV motors from Emax Eco that I have on this drone right now. So we don't see how those motors do on Freestyle. Pretty good. Now the one thing about this frame is that it is kind of hard to tune. Finally, I believe I got the tune about good, as best as I could. Let's go for Paulo. Not too bad. Flying, not bad at all. But then again, guys, this is not a 5-inch, so I'm not gonna be going crazy on this guy. I'm not trying to crash it and break it, because I don't think this frame is the. Ooh, that's not bad at all. Nothing the dog crazy. Ooh, so it's pretty responsive. And I have my throttle number in the bottom. So you can see what my throttle is. That's my battery at. Where's my battery at? Woo. Still are about 3.7. I give you a little idea of the drone fly with the Eco2 from Emax 2807. Those models go for about 20 bucks now. So as far as 2007 go, those are some of the cheaper option you have. Usually 2007, usually go about 20 to in a low range to about what 33 for the Supernova. So flying actually pretty good. I'm surprised with this tune. I thought it wasn't that good, but walking pretty good. Battery is almost done, but let's do a little punch out. Little bit of bubbling at the end. And see, battery went down, I think, to 3.4. Recuperate pretty good. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So good motors. I've been pleased with the EcoMax. Really have enough too much anything negative to say about it. I mean, a good motor, good torque, pretty responsive, as you may see. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go come down and we're gonna swap the motor to the Supernovas and we're gonna see how the Supernova perform. But even though I'm showing you some little bit of freestyle, I am more interested on how efficient the Supernova going to be. With this setup the way it is right now, I run it at 1500 kV. I know 1500 kV may be a little too high for 7-inch. Usually more 7-inch on about 1300 kV, or I haven't seen some of them at 1250. That 1500 work pretty good for me. I get it on average 20-minute flight time, which in my opinion, it's pretty long because usually after a flight I take a little break just to recuperate. 20 minutes is pretty long, but fly great. Now, the Supernova running at 1400 kV, I don't think they're going to make much of a difference as far as flight time goes. We're going to see. But, and again, man, I'm mostly interested on how efficient the model is going to be. Now, according to Chris Hosser, it has the best balance between torque, efficiency, and power. We're going to see that. The battery I'm using right now is a 1800 milliamp 6S battery. Lapo, this is not a Lion. So we get flat time so far with the couple little punch out and split S did. Flat time is close to about what, 6 minutes, which is actually pretty impressive. So I still have a little bit more flat time on it, but I'm gonna go ahead and land and we're gonna do the swap. So here the drone in all its beauty. I do have to admit that I definitely like the color scheme on the Supernovas. They look very nice. Now it's been about a week since I swapped those motor. So what I end up doing to test those motor, I had aggressive flight or freestyle flight. That's the flight where I did the flippy floppies. I had about 3 of those, and also I took them for some, I would say, long distance flights, just flying around my house and see how efficient those motors are compared to the Eco 2. And I did about 4 of those flights. that's pretty much what I'm going to be going over in this part of this video. For the aggressive flight, let me just let you know, I had my GoPro on it. And also, this is the battery I use for the aggressive flight. This is the Zeus 1800 milliamp hour 6S. Pretty good battery, perform pretty well, and actually a little cheap. So I do like those batteries. So let's just go straight to the footage. Now, total flight time of doing flippy floppies was about the same with the Eco 2. By the time I landed, I had about 6 minutes, and my battery was 3.57 maybe. So I could have pushed it a little more. So flight time exactly the same. As far as flight characters go, I really could not tell a major difference between the Supernovas and the Eco 2. The drone, in my opinion, kind of flew about the same. Now, on my first flight, I felt like the drone actually flew better with the Supernovas. I don't know, maybe it was a little smoother, a little more responsive, but you know, more likely it was some kind of biases. You know, new motors, you're excited about the new motor, so when you're flying it, you're feeling stuff that you don't really feel. By my second flight, third flight, I kind of was like, you know what, performance is about the same. Perform very well, plenty of torque. Now, if I'm not wrong, if my memory serves me well, I think when Chris Russell released the video on this motor, he did a comparison on the bench between the Supernova and the Eco 2, and according, if I'm not wrong, according to this video, he said that those motors had less torque than the Eco 2. But I mean, as far as flying goes, that's why I like to test mine. I like to fly the drone myself, because sometimes the result you get from the bench don't really carry in the real world. As far as the way they flew perfectly fine. I didn't really notice any difference between the two of them. So I mean, you can see on the screen, I'm doing some flippy floppies. Even though it's not a 5-inch drone, I would say it does handle pretty well. One thing I tried me though, I kind of was surprised. I thought I was gonna have to rework my PIDs because with this frame, one thing I have to say, I think I said earlier, this frame kind of finicky when it comes to PIDs. I didn't have to rework my PIDs, and also I'm flying this guy. You can see the packet rate, Express LRS 50 rates. That's what I use for long range. I don't really use this guy for aggressive flying, so maybe if I was running it at 250, I could feel the difference, but I don't know, I kind of doubt it. But yeah, as far as torque goes, I can't really tell if he has more torque. I mean, to me, as far as flippy floppy goes, it does fly the same as a Eco 2. But then again, those motors are not designed for flippy floppies. If you want flippy floppies, you can go with smaller motors. Really, 7-inch are really not designed for that either. Let me go over the efficiency test. You know, that's really what those motors are for. According to Chris Russell, they are the most efficient motor in class and size. So by efficient motor, that means that we should be getting a lot more flight time with those motors compared to any other motors. That's the way I understand efficiency. And if you are doing long range, you know, an efficient motor is definitely what you want, because the more efficient the motor, the longer you fly and the farther you can go. For the efficiency test, I ended up taking 4 flights. Those are the battery I use for the 4 flights. I think I introduced this battery already earlier. This is the Zod HD 4000 milliamp hour. It is a 6S. I also run it with those guys. Those are the gold line batteries, 400 milliamp hours, 6S. I want to show you the kind of flight I did. Kind of try to keep it in a long range spirit. That means kind of control my throttle, not too many up and down, not too many change in the throttle. So don't worry, I'm not gonna let you sit here watch the whole 4 flights because that'll get pretty boring, and that'll make this video way longer than I want it to be. But I'm gonna show you just the result. So on the first flight, that's the footage from the first flight. I'm coming to land. I'm gonna show you the flight time, post flight start I got. You can see that I had 21 minutes and 56 seconds, which is actually not bad at all. You can see my max speed was actually 62 kilometers. Keep my drone on kilometer because kilometer to me, I mean, I was raised with kilometer. Kilometer just make a lot more sense to me than miles, even though I've been living in the USA for quite some time. You can see that my battery voltage, minimum battery voltage was 17.83 volts. So with my Lion battery, I usually try to land by 3 volts. I usually want to try to bring the drone back. Now with Lion battery, you can go, sometimes people say you can go down to 2.5 volt. But when I found out that is that when you go down to 2.5 volt, you're not gonna get a lot of flight out of your battery. So I just came off this with this random number, 3 volt. That's when I land. So first flight we got 21.56. Which is definitely much higher than the 20-minute average I was getting with the Eco2. And of course, there's a lot of stuff that can influence the result. That'd be the wind, the speed that you're flying. So there is a lot of factor that can change your flight time. But 21.56, that was the first flight. Let me show you the second flight. Now on this flight, I think this is the second flight. You can see the flight time, 21 minutes and 17 seconds. But now my max speed was 77 kilometers. So I went a little faster on this flight compared to the first one. And you can see my minimum voltage was 1769. As I said earlier, I tried to land at 3.0 volts. But definitively you can see that I'm getting less flight on this guy, but going much faster, which is expected. But and again, guys, I'm not a robot. That's one reason I did multiple flights. Because sometimes people will just give you the result of one flight. But with, as I said earlier, there is a lot of factors that come in play when you're flying a drone. It's going to be how good you're managing your throttle, especially for long range. Gonna be the wind. The wind can affect your overall flight time. So there's a lot of factors. Now the third flight was a little surprising because I don't know what happened on this third flight. I don't know if the battery I was using was kind of starting to get weak. But you can see that this was the lowest flight time I got. I got 18 minutes and 28 seconds. And actually the maximum speed I got on the flight was only 75 kilometers, which was less than the second flight. The battery 17.93. So when I landed, my battery was showing 3 volt. That's why I landed. But you can see here that minimum battery is 17.93, which is so far the highest number I got after a flight. You know, I think flight 1 and 2, the minimum voltage was much lower than this. But for some reason, on these flights, didn't have as long of a flight time. And if my memory serves me well, I think on this day, the wind gust was around 10 miles in my area. And I think this was actually a pretty windy flight. This is the fourth flight. This was the last flight of the day. So I'm coming to land and I want to see what the total flight time was. 20 minutes and 30 seconds. And you can see that my speed on that flight was much less. Max speed of 64 kilometers. And also minimum voltage is 17 volt and 50. Now, based on all those flights I done, I think the first one was almost, 2156. I had like a flight that was 2117. I had another one that was 2030, and I have the lowest one that was like in 18 minutes. To me, that was a little bit of an outlier. Average flight time based on those 4 flights I did, it's about 20 minutes and 39 seconds. That, in my opinion, is now that much greater than the flight time I was getting with the Eco. Based on my testing, I can't really support the idea that those models are more efficient. That is the problem about doing bench testing. When you're doing bench testing, I mean, the result you get on bench testing to me are just like a baseline because when you go in a real world, there is so many different factors that can affect your overall performance of the drone. For example, how heavy is the drone? This drone is actually pretty light. When I do long range, I don't fly it with a GoPro. I guarantee if I put a GoPro on this guy, I'll be getting less flight time than the one I got. So there is so many factors. You got the weight, you got the prop you're using, what kind of prop you're using. I don't know which prop Chris Husser used on this test. Maybe I should be running this test again using the similar prop that he used on his bench. Now the real question is, should you be buying those motors? I mean, I bought mine already, so I mean, they are beautiful motors. I don't regret buying them. Now, compared to the Eco2 motors, the 2207 motor goes for about 20 bucks. Those go for about $33. So that's about $13 extra. And I won't lie to you guys. I mean, I've flown those two motors and I really don't see the big difference between the two of them. Those motors are very nice. Designed by Chris Husser, made by RCN Power. So I would say the quality, the overall quality of those motors may be much better than the Eco2. So it's gonna be up to you. Do you want to spend the extra money to get those motors? They do look nice, or you can save some money and buy the Emax Eco2. I hope that you enjoyed this video, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.